They say space is fake, that every rocket launch is Hollywood magic, and that astronauts are just swimming in pools with bubbles. But what if we actually tested every single one of these claims with real science, real evidence, and undeniable facts? Today, we're diving deep into the world of space deniers, conspiracy theorists, and flat Earth believers to systematically debunk or verify their most popular arguments. Buckle up, because we're about to separate truth from fiction in the most controversial debate on the internet. Let's start with the big one. The claim that all space footage is computer-generated imagery, or CGI. Space deniers point to videos from the International Space Station, satellite imagery, and even moon landing footage, claiming they look too perfect, too polished, or sometimes too imperfect to be real. The argument goes both ways, which should be our first red flag. If something looks too good, it's fake. If it has imperfections, it's also fake. This is called unfalsifiable reasoning, and it's the hallmark of conspiracy thinking. But let's test it properly. First, we need to understand what real CGI actually looks like versus authentic space footage. Modern CGI from movies like Gravity or Interstellar costs millions of dollars per scene and requires teams of hundreds of artists working for months. NASA's live streams from the ISS happen 24/7, showing 6 to 7 astronauts going about mundane daily tasks like eating, exercising, and conducting experiments. If this were all CGI, we'd be looking at the most expensive continuous film production in human history, involving thousands of people across multiple countries and decades, all maintaining perfect consistency. The cost alone would exceed the actual cost of going to space. Here's a simple test anyone can do. Watch unedited ISS footage for an hour. You'll see objects floating in microgravity with physics that would be impossible to fake consistently. Hair moves in ways that defies earthly physics. Water forms perfect spheres. Objects don't just float up, they float in all directions with momentum that matches Newtonian physics perfectly. To fake this with CGI or wires would require physics simulations more advanced than anything Hollywood has ever produced, and it would need to be perfect every single time, in every single frame, for hours of continuous footage. Now let's tackle the fisheye lens argument. This is a popular one. Space deniers claim that rocket launches and Earth curvature footage use fisheye lenses to make our flat Earth appear curved. At first glance, this seems plausible because we do see some footage with visible lens distortion. But here's what the deniers don't tell you. We have thousands of images from different cameras, different lenses, different angles, and different altitudes, all showing consistent curvature that matches a sphere with a circumference of about 40,000 kilometers. Let me break down the fisheye lens claim scientifically. A fisheye lens creates barrel distortion, where straight lines appear curved. But here's the key. This distortion is consistent and predictable. If you point a fisheye lens at a flat surface, the center appears to bulge outward and the edges curve away. The distortion is symmetrical. Now look at footage from rockets ascending through the atmosphere. As the rocket gains altitude, the curvature of Earth becomes more pronounced, but it does so in a way that's consistent with viewing a sphere from increasing distances. The curve doesn't change based on camera angle or rotation, it changes based on altitude. This is the opposite of what a fisheye lens would do. Additionally, we have footage from flat lenses, from multiple SpaceX launches, from weather balloons with non-distorting cameras, and even from amateur high-altitude balloons that regular people have launched. They all show the same thing, a curved Earth. If it were just lens distortion, changing the lens would change the result. It doesn't. Here's another test. Astronauts aboard the ISS regularly rotate cameras 360 degrees. If the Earth's curvature were a fisheye lens effect, the curvature would change or distort as the camera rotates. It doesn't. The Earth remains consistently spherical from every angle, which is exactly what we'd expect from an actual sphere, not a lens trick. Now we get to one of the most viral claims: bubbles in space. Space deniers have compilated footage showing what they claim are air bubbles rising during spacewalks, which they say proves astronauts are actually underwater in a giant pool. This has convinced thousands of people that spacewalks are faked. So let's test this claim rigorously. First, let's examine what we're actually seeing. In spacewalk footage, you occasionally see small objects or particles that appear briefly and then disappear. Deniers freeze frame these moments and claim they're bubbles. But here's what they're actually seeing. Ice C